This interview with Bob was recorded on Wednesday afternoon. It is now Thursday afternoon, and I've just found out that the Black Pigeon Speaks YouTube channel, one of my favorite YouTube channels, one of the most measured, fair, political, and social discourse channels on YouTube, was terminated today. I'm absolutely outraged by this, because if they can get away with terminating Black Pigeon Speaks, then no one is safe. Hey friends, thank you so much for tuning in. It's great to have you back. We say that every time because it's true. And for those of you who can actually find our videos on YouTube, thank you so much for giving this a like and sharing it within your sphere of influence. YouTube continues to make it only harder to find alternative news media sources on their platform. They prop up the establishment and they're trying to put us all on a plantation where no one can find us. So again, thank you so much for your support. Without you guys, there'd be no point in making these types of videos. I have back on the line the founder of Trade Genius, Bob Kudla. Bob, welcome back.
Hey, Sean, thanks for having me. Welcome to summer.
Yeah, it's summer. I'll tell you what, I was trying to find a soundbite. Let's just start with a crypto comment, because I was trying to find a soundbite, an exchange that you and I had. I know that it was between you and I, and it was back towards the lows in cryptos. The whole sector had been beaten up. This goes back a few months ago. And I said, Bob, they do this. I've seen them do this time and time again. People may want to dip their foot in the pool because I've seen them do it to Netflix. Saw them do it to McDonald's stock. They love to drive these things down, sometimes below the IPO prices, and then they send them back to the moon. They did it with Amazon. Amazon, after the internet bubble popped, was at $5. Now look at it. This is what they do, and I think smart money has been accumulating cryptos. We've seen Litecoin just since the bottom. It touched, I think, 22 just a few months ago, and now it's at nearly $140 per Litecoin.
Yeah, it's amazing. I think it was in February. December, I think it bottomed. It took a bit of a dip, and then from there just took off. We put a buy recommendation back on it on 25, and we said, hey, if it gets to 75, it'd be a good move. It ripped right through that to 100. It came back down. We said, now we think it's going to go to 175, and then it's ripping now. So that's our target. We think it's an 8x move going into the halving, and then we think everybody's just going to slide off the Litecoin boat, jump on the Bitcoin boat, and make that an 8x move too. So, you know, good times in crypto land, and then in between, you just get some of these altcoin actions too. So we're bullish, and you know, we're still on the Litecoin Bitcoin trade right now, and then we're going to slide over to pure Bitcoin as soon as it hits our targets.
Let's just talk about Trade Genius real quickly. Give folks the pitch, because you've helped me make money on a uranium play, on GOLD, and of course you guys cover cryptos. So just tell people how they could take part and maybe make some money.
Yeah, so what we do is we educate it and inform, you know, our subscribers, our listeners in stocks and in ETFs and in crypto. And what we do is we have a chat room and a trading room where it's open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You could pick which room you want to be in, or both, depending on what bundle that you choose. And also we provide trade signals, as the ones that you get. You see the trade signals come on. We say, hey, we think it's a buy here at this price. Here's a recommended stop. Here's a recommended target. We do that for cryptos, and we do that for stocks and ETFs. And in addition to that, we have software indicators on a platform from TradingView that we provide buy and sell signals right on the software itself for people that like to trade things that we may not follow, because you just can't follow everything. In addition to that, we do training, personal training and group training, and we have education packages too. So we really want to help people really learn how to trade, get confident in how we approach trading, and then just make money nearly every day in the market. It's absolutely possible to do so. You know, we're not the Lambo guys. We're to grind it out every day, and you can build wealth, a lot of wealth over time, if you just put these things that we share with you into practice and make money.
All right. We'll put the link below this video, guys, if you want to try it out. Bob, let me ask you something. This president is standing up against the deep state, and he's starting to stand up against these social media giants and their fascism. I mean, I just can't believe how blatantly, overtly, explicitly fascist these big social media giants have become. And the president tweeted out on June 12th, wow, just got word that our June 18th Tuesday announcement in Orlando, Florida already has 74,000 requests for a 20,000 seat arena with all of the big events that we've done. This ticket looks to be the hottest of them all. See you in Florida. He goes on to say the fake news has never been more dishonest than it is today. Thank goodness we can fight back on social media. Their new weapon of choice is fake polling, sometimes referred to as suppression polls. They suppressed the numbers, had it in 2016, but this is worse. The fake corrupt news media said that they had a leak into polling done by my campaign, which, by the way, and despite the phony and never-ending witch hunt, are the best numbers we have ever had. They reported fake numbers that they made up and don't even exist. We will win again. Bob, did you happen to see Joe Biden's rally the other day? It's a joke. Nobody shows up to see these Democrats speak, and this president has 75,000 people trying to get into a 20,000-seat arena.
Yeah, that was going to be my comment back to you. Is that Joe can't even fill up a coffee shop, and look, their message is tired, and I think people are wise to the demagoguery, and they don't really offer anything. I mean, look at what Joe Biden say: "Elect me, I'll cure cancer." It's like Al Gore saying, "I invented the internet." And AOC saying she'll stop the destruction of the world through climate change through a Green New Deal. These people, I don't know where they're getting their psychological training, but I think that thing has long since passed. I think people are kind of wise to it now. Yeah. So what I heard was that not only are all the states that Trump has carried solid, is that they say like states like Oregon and Nevada might be in play as well. So they're it's going to be an interesting year, to say the least.
Can I ask you something? If you and I, look, the president knows, his son, Donald Jr., knows about what these social media giants are doing, about their fascism, about what I think is absolutely illegal and, of course, anti-American and I think unconstitutional. But the fascist censorship that's going on with Google changing their algorithms, with YouTube changing their algorithms. Even Pinterest has now been exposed by Project Veritas. Twitter, Facebook, they're all engaged in, I think YouTube specifically, and Google, they're engaged in tortious interference. They are interfering with our ability to reach our established audiences. They're trying to shrink our audiences. I think it's illegal. What is your view on this?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, there's no legal precedent to say a private company can do what they want, because we have established case law that says otherwise. You just have to remember that baker in Oregon. And if you ever walk through a grocery store and you get accosted by people polling you or trying to sell you or trying to do a nonprofit, that's private property and people have access to the public square. Look, I think Trump is just taking his time on this thing. And I think once he gets his Attorney General Barr in motion, then I think he's going to go after these guys pretty hard. And I think these guys are in for a rude shock. Look, Facebook just stepped in it big time today, Sean. Down 2.5%. They uncovered emails from Zuckerberg on violations of privacy policies. Look, these guys are in big trouble. Trump announced that the Department of Justice announced that they're going to look at Google for antitrust violations. Mm-hmm. So they're coming for these guys. They're just doing it in a very smart way. And I think, we're going to see from now until the election, I think they're going to be playing defense. And I think the Democrats are going to be playing defense. And at the end of the day, we'll be vindicated, people, for free speech. The other thing, too, is I just looked, Hong Kong, people said all of a sudden all the news from Hong Kong dropped off. I went back and looked at the feeds, nothing from 12 hours and more recent. So they're in cahoots even with the Chinese government to suppress anything that can give people empowerment. I think the elites are scared to death, Sean.
Well, they ought to be. They've committed hardcore crimes against humanity. And, they've literally, Google and YouTube cover up for pedophiles and child traffickers. We try to expose them. Those channels don't get shut down. Our channels do. It's just so beyond the pale. And I certainly hope that the Department of Justice brings these companies to heel. So you're right. I think maybe the president is trying to go after these guys and do it by the book. It's just so demoralizing, though, because we can see certain channels, and we don't have to get too deep into this, but certain channels have favored nation status. I've noticed that Tim Pool, for instance, he'll put up a video and he'll get 120,000 views in like 4 hours. Same with Black Conservative Patriot. He puts up a new video and it gets 340,000 views in a day. And High Impact Flicks, his channel's being absolutely throttled. Black Pigeon Speaks, same thing. So many of us have been throttled down and put on a hit list. Hey guys, Sean here. I'm going to stop the interview right here for just 1 second. It's ironic that I mentioned Black Pigeon Speaks. This interview with Bob was recorded on Wednesday afternoon. It is now Thursday afternoon, and I've just found out that the Black Pigeon Speaks YouTube channel, one of my favorite YouTube channels, one of the most measured, fair, political, and social discourse channels on YouTube, was terminated today by YouTube without warning. He had no strikes. He had almost 500,000 subscribers. His channel was in good standing, and he was terminated without cause and without warning. I'm absolutely outraged by this, because if they can get away with terminating Black Pigeon Speaks, then no one is safe. I have rarely ever missed a Black Pigeon Speaks video, and I've never, ever heard him say anything hateful whatsoever. And he was banned. He was terminated for violating their fuzzy terms on what they call hate speech. It's an absolute outrage, and I've been spending the afternoon here tweeting directly to YouTube and Real Donald Trump on Twitter, Donald Trump Jr., Representative Matt Gaetz, Jim Jordan, and Devin Nunes, and Team YouTube, saying the YouTube purge has gone too far. This mass censorship of intelligent political discourse must end right now. If you have a Twitter account, guys, please tweet directly to @TeamYouTube and to YouTube and to Susan Wojcicki. Reinstate the Black Pigeon Speaks YouTube channel right now. This cannot stand. It will not stand. It will not be allowed to stand. I'm going to stay on this until Black Pigeon Speaks is brought back. It's funny that I mentioned him yesterday in this interview, because I had noticed that his channel and his view counts were being throttled down, just like mine. And now today, he's gone. Okay, time out. This is update 2 on the Black Pigeon Speaks situation. I literally took 1 hour off to go have dinner with my wife, and I was going to post this video, and I checked Twitter when we got home. And guess what? The Black Pigeon Speaks channel has been reinstated by YouTube. This is what we can do. We have power, collective power, guys. When we get angry and we get vocal, we can make change for the better. We can do the right thing. We can get YouTube to do the right thing. And in this case, it's forcing them to restore the BPS channel. Black Pigeon Speaks is back up. But look, it's clear that they're not done with this censorship. They're going to continue coming after conservatives and libertarians and those that cherish the First Amendment and the Bill of Rights. They're going to keep coming at us hard. And when they do, we all need to stand together and fight back. We need to tweet to @TeamYouTube, to Donald Trump Jr., to Devin Nunes, to Representative Matt Gaetz, to everybody that we can think of, Jim Jordan. And ultimately, states need to do what's being done in Texas. There's a new state bill that was introduced that so far it looks like it's going to pass, that will allow the state of Texas to sue the big social media giants directly, YouTube, Facebook, Google, when they censor speech. That's the way to go, I guess, if the feds don't hurry up and get their act together and put an end to this. All right, guys, thanks so much for listening. That's update 2. BPS is back. Now back to the interview with Bob. Black Pigeon Speaks, same thing. So many of us have been throttled down and put on a hit list, while others seem to escape the hit list. And I think that's so YouTube can have plausible deniability in a court of law. So they can say, oh, look at this channel, Black Conservative Patriot. What are your thoughts on that? Do you think some channels are being targeted while other channels aren't, even in the conservative space? Not that Tim Pool's conservative, by the way. He's absolutely not.
Yeah, I mean, well, I mean, it's obvious that it is. So, look, at the end of the day, they're going to have a uniform policy of access to audiences. So they're going to have to come up with something that is objective. And look, they have tools in place. Twitter says, hey, you can mute, you can block. So I don't know why they're so concerned. People can pick and choose what they want to see. It's not Google's job to protect me from what I want to see or watch or learn. That's really my job. So they're going to run the risk of being a publisher. And I think when this thing starts to open up this can of worms, then they're going to have to pick which side they're going to be on, because they're not going to be able to thread the needle, I don't think. And
Right.
So I don't worry about it too much. I think this too shall pass. And I think they're going to have to become a neutral platform.
Yeah, well, they ought to be, and I hope that's the case, because they're using this term hate speech as a label to capture everything that they don't like in terms of political speech. So it's such a broad brush, and it's so completely unfair and biased and obvious. Censorship, look, free speech is meant to be free. And the thing about YouTube, we continue to see people like Sundar Pichai at Google and Susan Wojcicki, the CEO at YouTube, say, we're trying to make YouTube a safe place and we're trying to protect the user experience. Look, you don't have to click play on a video. You don't have to visit SGT Report on YouTube. And guess what? Liberals don't. So judge the fruits of these channels and these videos by the like ratio to dislike ratio. You know, my videos always get 95% likes and 5% dislikes. Now go look at Susan Wojcicki's videos. She constantly gets thumbs down. Brian over at High Impact Flicks just did a video about that the other day, and it was great because if you look at the videos coming from the establishment, like Axios, which I just reported on yesterday. Axios got $20 million in funding, partially by NBC Universal. It's a leftist, liberal, Marxist news outlet with 7,000 YouTube subscribers, and everything they put up gets, 90% thumbs down. It's just such a fix, Bob. The fix is in, and we pray that President Trump can do something about it. Hey, what do you think of the tariffs and the trade wars? I'm really impressed by what Trump did with Mexico. He played a game of chicken with them. He got Mexico to help shore up this border. What do you make of the trade wars, and will the trade war with China continue?
Yeah, I don't think, I've talked about this before with people, is that I don't think it's in President Trump's best interest or the American people's best interest to have a trade deal with China. There's really nothing that we can provide China that they won't turn around and steal at some point. And so all we could do is sell them stuff we've already been selling them. So really, it's really going to be about normalizing the trade balance with China over time. And look, these tariffs are bringing in revenue. We just seen the 90-day report that prices haven't changed for the end consumer. It's being eaten by the Chinese producer or the importer. So in that sense, that he hit a grand slam. I think he's going to play this out as long as he can take advantage of it. And look, we need to have a balance with China and trade, because every dollar we send over to China, we're creating somebody who considers us a strategic enemy of theirs. And so why should we enable them and create our own enemy? The Democrats seem to be really good at that. They've enabled all the way back to Rosenberg. They enabled the Soviet Union. They provided assistance to North Korea. They provided assistance to Russia and then to China with high tech military technology and transfers. And I don't understand why they do that unless there's something behind the scenes I don't understand. But I think Trump's putting the kibosh on that, and he's been consistent on that since the early 90s. He doesn't change. So as long as he's in office, I think he's just going to keep the pressure on China. And look, he's going to make it impossible for China to say yes. And so that's my view, and I think so far that's playing out, and it's good for us. So the next thing is, and you and I talked about this a little bit before when you talked about that uranium play, is that the next thing going through Congress right now is basically domestic strategic mining to protect our industries from dumping from Russia and China and some of the other African countries, so that our ability to mine our own strategic metals is not blown up, if you will, and that we can have access to these metals for our military and for our high tech industries. And that's why we've been pounding the table, Sean, and in terms of uranium and vanadium and the platinum, palladium, and gold, silver. All those things are going to be cobalt, lithium, everything. All those things are going to be protected. Rare earth, all of them. And so there are going to be tremendous opportunities to make money in the market in those things. And we're going to start seeing some of that stuff come to the fore in the next 30 to 90 days as it winds through Congress. And so far, it's been getting really well received, and Trump certainly would sign it.
All right, let's talk about the election coming up. You know that the fix is in with these social media companies trying to silence those of us that actually got the info out and got the word out about President Trump, supported President Trump when he was candidate Trump. Of course, we all know now the deep state was spying on him then, and there was an attempted coup when he became president. The same Mockingbird mainstream media is going to try to impugn this president and try to lie about this president to prevent him from being reelected. What is his move to keep the Democrats at bay? You continue to hear these lunatics talk about impeachment. They don't have a single decent candidate to run against him, with the exception of maybe Tulsi Gabbard. But she's not getting any play in the mainstream media because she's too honest and she actually cares about this country, and she's a Democrat, so they don't want her. How does he keep these demonic Democrats at bay running into this election?
Well, I think he does it the way he's been doing it. He's uber transparent, and he allows them to step on their own petard, if you will, and that they always stick their foot in their mouth. I mean, look at Nadler. What it was the best thing he could do against Trump is bring out John Dean, and then last week Hillary Clinton, Speaker Pelosi said, "I don't want to discuss Trump anymore." It's because they know he got the goods on them, and they have nothing on him. And I think he's just going to play offense on these guys. Impeachment's gone. There's just no way they're going to do an impeachment against President Trump. And even if the House tries to vote to do it, the very last thing they're going to want to give this guy is wall-to-wall coverage with his own words in front of the House of Representatives, with all the details that he's been collecting from the Attorney General for the last 18 months on everybody on that committee. I mean, look at Clyburn. Look at Maxine Waters. These people are absolute crooks. You don't think Trump's going to bring that stuff up at the meetings, or these hearings? These guys don't want to be exposed. So I think that's off the table. And now Trump's just going to be out there. It's his own words. It's their words against his words. And you can see the play he gets versus what Biden gets. And, and Biden's not out of the woods in terms of a nomination anyway. So they're going to go through 6 to 9 months of just beating each other to death and just outrageousing each other. And I think the American people should be sufficiently scared by the time the Democrats pick their nominee, because, we just went into the state hospital and started picking people. And I think most American people, at least centrists to the right, are just going to say, no way do I want to be in a country with one of these lunatics running it.
Right. Well, let me ask you this then, as it pertains to the criminal deep state, indictments, investigations going on, the Horowitz report, the DOJ investigations, potential investigations of these deep state players and traders. Where do you think this is going to shake out here in 2019?
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, I think Brennan's in trouble. I think Clapper's in trouble. I think, even Wray might be in trouble at the FBI. Comey's in trouble. These guys are all going to have to start lawyering up at some point. And Schrock and his mistress, whatever her name is,
his paramour, Paige.
Look, somebody's going to turn on somebody here, and then the goods are just going to come pouring out. And you got to realize there's a lot of people in the CIA and the FBI that don't support these people, that have been totally suppressed. And I guarantee you they're being interviewed right now. And so, yeah, there's no way that Trump's going to leave this whole thing go and not have the Attorney General go after it. Look, and the Attorney General, he already put his marker out there. You don't say, I think there was spying, if you didn't already have the goods. A lawyer never says things that he can't already back up. So, so all this talk about, hey, we're going to censure, the bar, we're going to impeach him, we're going to put him into jeopardy. All that is off the table now too. Yeah. And so, I'm just, I'm so excited. I'm just not worried about this stuff anymore. I think it's all going to play out the way Trump wants it to. He's just going to just keep putting stuff out all the time. And then he's going to let Barr do it. And I think he'll stay above the fray. And he'll just say, you need to talk to the Attorney General about this stuff. And then he has people in the Senate now and in the House that'll carry the water for him. So, I'm excited. A year ago, I was probably a little bit more nervous. But now that you see the stuff that's coming out, it's just amazing.
You know what's a puzzler for me, though, and maybe you can weigh in on this. I don't know if you've given it that much thought, but Julian Assange is the puzzler for me. What in the hell is going on with regards to Julian Assange and this country trying to bring him here to essentially put him in the clink for the rest of his days, I guess? I don't really understand it, because President Trump knows very well that WikiLeaks is not an agent or an arm of the Russian government. I mean, it's the same garbage thrown at WikiLeaks by the mainstream media that was thrown at Trump, that he was in bed with Russians. Julian Assange, I'm very concerned for his safety. We're hearing that he's in grave, his health is in grave condition. He's in a prison in the UK, the likes of which could be compared to Rikers Island in solitary. This is a very, very, very dangerous thing. And I don't understand why this president won't stand up for Julian Assange. That to me is the ultimate puzzler.
I don't know much about other than, what he purportedly has done. But look, the people that were really upset with Julian Assange wasn't so much the Republicans as were the Democrats. So, they're really upset. So maybe Trump gets them over here and offers them a deal and, to share what he knows. So, unfortunately for Julian Assange is that he's become a pawn in a bigger game here, and it's just going to have to play itself out. He knew going in that, you're going after the biggest boy on the block here. And sometimes there's collateral damage to those things. And he's caught up in it right now. So I think, if Trump is who we think he is, he may bring this guy over here and get information from him and get him, released from, with immunity, or maybe just the whole thing just dies after the election. I don't know.
Well, that was my original thinking too. I was exactly there with you because we know that Assange holds the key to unlocking the whole story for the world to hear the truth about where those emails came from, the DNC emails. They didn't come from Russia. They came from Seth Rich. I mean, Assange has all but said so, offering a reward of, I think, $20,000, for the capture of those that murdered Seth Rich. Meanwhile, the DNC, you know what they did for Seth Rich? They dedicated a bike rack. I mean, these Democrats are just absolute demons. But you're right. That was my hope that Trump would get Assange here to get his on-the-record testimony to unlocking all of this stuff. And I've expressed to Harley Schlanger when he was on that as long as Julian Assange is in a UK dungeon, I'm very, very afraid for his safety. And I think we all should be. All right. Well, let's round out the conversation with something you emailed me, and I want your comments on this. You emailed me that crypto, we already covered that, but crypto, strategic metals, and gold and silver are in the sweet spot. Do you want to round that out as it pertains to gold and silver?
Yeah. So the chart I sent over to you as well is that's what's called a classic inverted head and shoulder pattern. It's been playing out here now for almost a year. And we're now at what they call the neckline, which means that as it moves higher, we're looking at a potential $300 to $400 move in gold, and silver will follow even with a little bit more acceleration. And the reason being is that there's no way with the deficits that we're running worldwide that people aren't going to try to get out of the banking systems. And that's why cryptos have been going. And that's why gold and silver will be moving higher as well. And when that happens, then the gold and silver miners will absolutely explode. And you're looking at 200 to 800% moves. We've already had a number of them that have already doubled, Sean. So the move has begun already, but we're still probably in the second or third inning of this move. And once it happens, it'll be breathtaking. And once they lose control over gold and silver, like they lost control over palladium earlier in the year, you could see 30, 40% moves in gold, 100% moves in silver, and then the miners will be 2 to 5x that. So we're really bullish. And then the strategic metals, Trump has all but said, I'm going to protect these industries. And the House and Senate, bipartisan vote, agreed. And I think you're going to see money being made there too. And that's where we've been focused, Sean, and we've been making people pretty good money here on those trades. And I shot you over some charts to show you what those look like. And we don't see that ending anytime soon. And if they work through an infrastructure package, going into the fall and into the winter, then you're going to see, stock copper and steel, and those stocks start to explode as well. So look, move out of the FANG stocks, start moving into the commodity. Trump has a bullseye on FANG, and he has his heart out for the commodities. And I think that's where we're going to see the big shift happening. And that's where the big money is going to be made. So that's our thesis, and it's been playing out perfectly all year long.
All right, final word here. I want to just go back to cryptos for 1 second. We're not a crypto channel, but I've talked about cryptos on and off again since they've been introduced. And I was very much an anti-Bitcoin guy early on. Obviously, if I could rewind time, I'd have taken a flyer on Bitcoin below 50 when I had the chance, but I was so entrenched in the gold and silver camp, and I still am, but I've opened my mind to the cryptos to the degree that it's a hedge. It's a gamble, but it's a hedge on your future, right? If you throw a little bit of money at the cryptos, you may be able to retire, whereas those who don't have any money in the cryptos are going to really struggle. And so I want you to make the case for what you think Bitcoin could go to in terms of price. And the reason I bring it up is because, and Litecoin too, because Bitcoin there's going to be a total of 21 million ever mined. That's it. There will never be more than 21 million, and there will be less because of lost wallets and things of that nature. The interesting thing about Litecoin, Charlie Lee set it up as a 4-time Bitcoin type of deal where there's only going to be 84 million ever mined in the history of Litecoin. So the Litecoin Bitcoin story is very much like gold and silver. I think it's very interesting. I have heard Max Kaiser say that he firmly believes that Bitcoin is going north of 100,000. He's been saying that for years. He was one of the early adopters. I mean, he was getting into Bitcoin in 2012. I respect Max Kaiser. What are your thoughts on this thing? Could Bitcoin really perform that well? And then maybe Litecoin could do well as well?
Yeah. I look at Litecoin's already outperformed Bitcoin this year, so it absolutely has the potential. Look, my personal view is that we should see the same multiple of growth out of Bitcoin over the next 12 months that we saw out of Litecoin. And so depending on where you want to start the clock, is it 3,000 or 6,000? You're looking at anywhere between 24,000 to 48,000, and then that's just to get us through the next 12 months. And then once they stop, this halving happens and the supply shrinks even further. And you got to realize institutions now are pouring into this. Then it's only a simple matter of another double and you're at 100,000. So Max Kaiser is not out of bounds in that regard. And we could see the path to the parabolic move. In fact, the math on the parabolas, if you look at past halvings, say this potentially could be a $250,000 coin too. I'm not prepared to say that. All I'm prepared to say is that it's going to outperform most everything. And the only other thing that I'd be interested in is gold, silver, and the miners to go along with it. People have to realize Bitcoin is basically a hedge against the banking system. And gold and silver is a hedge against the monetary system. And so that's why you want to own those. And if you just own 5 to 10% of it, Bitcoin has outperformed everything in the last 10 years by multiples. Talking about thousands of percent higher than anything else. So, and this move has just begun because we have not yet started, the grand, currency devaluations that are going to happen. Once China goes, Sean, then Bitcoin's going to just go through the roof. And that's what people are calculating and expecting. So that's our view. We see nothing but, long-term appreciation here. And people need to put a certain percentage away with this and take advantage of it. Because I think probably looking back 5 years, people are gonna rue that they did not.
All right. Well, I just wanted to hear your views on that, and I appreciate it. Bob, thank you so much for your time. Remind people, is it tradelikeagenius.com? And I'll leave the link below this video, guys, too.
Yeah, go to tradelikeagenius.com, and Sean, like we always do, we put together bundles for people. So for Saturday, midnight, take advantage of some really good pricing we put together for your listeners. And I really appreciate you having me on.
Okay, so that link, I guess, guys, below this video will be good for a deal through this coming Saturday night at midnight. All right, Bob,
Yes,
thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. Have a great day.
You too. And guys, thank you so much for tuning in. You know how much we value you. A special shout out to our patrons who are helping us stay in the game as Google and YouTube change the rules in the middle of the game, the fascist beasts that they are. Gosh, I hope they're brought to heel soon. And guys, for real news 24/7, you can visit us at sgtreport.com. Check us out at thelibertymill.com and thephaser.com as well. Thanks for listening. God bless. Bye-bye.